Good evening, everyone. I'll request you to keep your mobiles in silent mode. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me immense pleasure to extend a very warm welcome to our member Board of Governors, Professor Malvika Harita, our chief guest for the evening, Nirupama Rao, former Foreign Secretary of India, our Director in Charge, Professor Dinesh Kumar, and all the faculty, staff, students and alumni who joined us physically and logged in from across the globe for the 52nd Foundation Day celebrations. We will start the function with invocation. The Saraswati Vandana is being presented by Ms. Pooja Balasubramanya, one of our staff members.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. मा सरस्वती शारदे, मा सरस्वती शारदे, पूर्ण इस अज्ञान उदधि से, पूर्ण इस अज्ञान उदधि से, वीणा पाणी तार दे, तार दे, तार दे, माँ सरस्वती शारदे। सूर्य ब्रह्म शिव विष्णु गजानन जिन चरणों को सेवते, सूर्य ब्रह्म शिव विष्णु गजानन जिन चरणों को सेवते, हम शिशु है अज्ञानी माता, इन चरणों का प्यार दे, वीणा पाणी तार दे, तार दे, तार दे, माँ सरस्वती शारदे। श्वेत कमल तेरा आसन है, श्वेत हंस तेरा वाहन है, श्वेत कमल तेरा आसन है, श्वेत हंस तेरा वाहन है, हम पर सिद्ध दृष्टि कर जननी बोध चीरती धार से, वीणा पाणी तार दे, तार दे, तार दे, माँ सरस्वती शारदे, माँ सरस्वती शारदे, शारदे, माँ शारदे।
Next, we will request the dignitaries on the dais for lighting of the lamp. we request Professor Dinesh Kumar, our Director in Charge, IIM Bangalore, to deliver his welcome address.
Distinguished Chief Guest, former Foreign Secretary of India, Nirupama Rao, Member of Board of Governors of IIMB, Professor Malavika Harita, alumni, faculty colleagues, students, staff, and all guests present. A very warm welcome to all of you to our 52nd Foundation Day. As we celebrate this milestone, I would like to begin by expressing our deep gratitude to Dr. Devi Shetty, Chairperson, Board of Governors, IIM Bangalore, and the board for their continued faith, leadership, and guidance. I would like to acknowledge the support that the Institute has received for all its activities from the central government, specifically the Ministry of Education, as well as other departments, and the Government of Karnataka, for which we would like to extend our gratitude once again. IIM Bangalore recognizes the partnership of various academic institutions, corporations, and government, as well as non-governmental organizations, which have contributed immensely to the Institute's pursuit of excellence. Equally exemplary are the contributions of all our brand ambassadors, the illustrious alumni, immensely talented faculty, our dear students, and dedicated staff, whose concerted efforts continue to enhance IIM Bangalore's global standing among leading management schools across the world. The Institute remains committed not only to providing world-class management education, but also to shaping minds, cultivating thought leadership, and building leaders with the ability to make a significant social impact. Creating such global change agents, nurturing skill building and entrepreneurial ecosystem through NSR Cell, promoting sustainability, and contributing to the welfare of business, government, and society, as well as to the broader goal of nation building, are milestones that make IIM Bangalore a class apart. Today, it is my privilege to present a few highlights of IIM Bangalore's major achievements over the past year. We are constantly reinventing ourselves, and that is reflected in both global and national rankings. Each of our programs has shown exceptional performance against global benchmarks, bearing testimony to our tradition of excellence. PGP, our two-year MBA program, ranked number 1 in India and 28 globally in the Financial Times Masters in Management ranking, making the Institute the only Indian B school to feature in the global top 30. It also ranked 38th globally, second in Asia, number 1 in India in the QS Masters in Management 2026 rankings. PGPBA made a strong debut, placing within the top 60 globally and number 1 in India in the QS Masters in Business Analytics 2026 ranking. Note that this program is just about 5 years old. EPGP, our one-year full-time MBA program, once again positioned IIMB among the top 3 business schools in the Asia-Pacific region and retained its position as India's number 1 in Bloomberg Business Week Best B Schools ranking 2025-26. It also featured in the top 10 in Asia, number 1 in India in the QS Global MBA rankings 2026. PGPEM ranked 50 in worldwide, 10th in the Asia-Pacific region, and first in India in the QS EMBA World University Rankings 2025. IIM Bangalore also reaffirmed its standing as one of India's premier management institution and placed second in the management category of 2025 NIRF rankings. We have launched 2 new undergraduate programs, BSc Honors in Data Science and BSc Honors in Economics. The curriculum will integrate economics, data science, philosophy, communication, and ethics. We established new centers such as the Tony James Center for Private Equity and Venture Capital with the generous support of our distinguished alumnus, Mr. Matthew Syriac. We have hosted prestigious national and global summits and conferences attended by respected academicians and industry leaders. We have executed numerous memoranda of understanding with government bodies, academic institutions, and corporations. We have been chosen by the Joint Secretary of the Smart Cities Mission, Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, Government of India, to present 3 thematic impact studies. 5 students from our BBA DBE program were selected for the first of its kind, fully funded 2-week international immersion at Hiroshima University, Japan. The initiative was coordinated by Misowa India Japan Study Center. Our digital learning arm, IIMBX, has launched a FinTech certificate program for young professionals in collaboration with the government of Karnataka. Along with fostering excellence in academics and research, our vision places strong emphasis on environmental awareness, social impact, and sustainable living. The TCI IIMB Supply Chain Sustainability Lab, for instance, recently hosted a sustainability and material compliance conference on enabling industry today for standards of tomorrow to deliberate the repositioning of sustainability not as a compliance burden, but as a driver of innovation, resilience, and differentiation. On the World Environment Day in June, we released IIMB Sustainability Report, audited by a third party. The report captures both retrospective insights and a forward-looking roadmap aligned with internationally recognized sustainability frameworks to maintain transparency, accuracy, and accountability. We also introduced a new core course for our PGP students titled Responsible Business and Sustainability. Our efforts in promoting inclusion and diversity led us to co-host the Purple Economy Dialogue, where leaders from diverse industries gather to explore the intersection of disability accessibility and the transformative potential of disability-related products and services for the broader economy. Specifically, the discussion highlighted how solutions that prioritize accessibility can reshape markets, enhance innovative pipelines, and deliver sustainable value across the value chain spectrum. Earlier this year, the LCTA Sustainability Awards 24-25 acknowledged our work in sustainability and recognized us with a silver award. Instituted by the Electronic City Industrial Township Authority, the awards celebrate organizations that lead with responsible environmental action. IIMB was recognized among the educational and research institutions for its impactful initiatives and commitment to the environmental stewardship. Our faculty are world-class management academicians and researchers, and I like to highlight a few of their numerous achievements. Let me first start by congratulating Professor Srivardhani Jha, chairperson of NSR Cell and faculty in the entrepreneurship area, who was conferred with the National Teachers Award 2025 by the Honorable President of India, Srimati Draupadi Murmu. Professor Pulak Ghosh from Decision Sciences area has been appointed as the member of Economic Advisory Council to the Prime Minister of India. Researchers from the finance and accounting area, Professor Varun Jindal and PhD scholar Sanjit Jain won the Best Research Paper Award, first prize in the corporate finance track at the 2025 edition of the Research Symposium on Finance and Economics. The research paper, Banking Against the Odds, Performance and Lending Efficiency of Government Banks During Crisis, co-authored by a team of finance and accounting area researchers, including Professor Sangarshan Basu, Professor Nitin Vishan, and doctoral program scholar Joel Christopher won the Best Paper Award in the Economics and Finance track in the same conference. The paper, Technology-Enabled Agent Choice and Uptake of Social Assistance Programs, Evidence from India's Food Security Program, co-authored by Professor Maya Ganesh from the Production and Operations Management area, won the 2025 Rolf Gomery Best Industry Studies Paper Award. The recognition is conferred annually on the most impactful research article nominated by editorial teams from top 10 leading journals. Published in Manufacturing and Service Operations Management, the paper with critical insights for public sector program design examines how introducing agent choice in India's public distribution system affects beneficiary participation. Professor Sai Chitranjan from the strategy area, Apurva Sanaria from the OBHRM area, and Harshita Ravi, former academic associate in the entrepreneurship area, received the Best Paper Award at the 10th Indian Academy of Management Conference in the International Business track. Professor Rusha Das of the Public Policy area was invited as a visiting scholar by the Exeter Center for Environmental Law in Cornwall for a month-long engagement during June and July 2025. The opportunity enabled her to engage with leading scholars in environmental governance as well as initiate institutional collaboration at the intersection of law, policy, and business. She also received a prestigious research grant from Zurich University of Applied Sciences for her co-developed project titled Local Environmental Democracy and Green Transition, Mapping Institutional Mechanism and Political Mobilizations. Professor Neelam Kaushik from the strategy area won the Best Paper Award at the second edition of the India Strategy Conference. Additionally, our PhD student Anupa Shogan, under the guidance of Professor Neelam Kaushik, received the AOM STR Global Scholarship Award at the same conference. Professor Anand Dio from the Decision Sciences area was honored with the ISIM Outstanding Simulation Publication Award 2024 by the Informed Simulation Society. Our students and our alumni remain our pride and joy. I'd like to congratulate the recipients of the Institute's Alumni Service Awards for 2025, Naveen Kumar, PGP 1999. We need a bigger applause. Karan Bhagat, PGP 2001, and Michael Secura, PGP 2010. In today's global uncertainty, I am pleased to share that IIM Bangalore is making the most of this period of change and opportunity to reaffirm its role as a hub of ideas, innovation, and impact. Today's headlines are dominated by geopolitical tension, division, and conflict. Given the current events worldwide, we must ask whether the core human values of empathy and moral responsibility for one another continue to guide our collective actions. I reminded of the Chinese traveler and Buddhist monk, Xuanzang. Xuanzang spent more than 3 years traveling from China to India in the 7th century. He faced life-threatening challenges throughout his journey. During his 19 years of journey in India and to India, he covered over 25,000 kilometers, traversing 110 kingdoms, mostly on foot. A significant portion of Indian history is known to us through Xuanzang's travel diary. Yes, the question is, why did he take such a journey in which he could have lost his life? He was not pursuing a career promotion or personal wealth, but rather seeking an uncorrupted truth. Because for Xuanzang, India was the holy country where Buddha walked and taught. India is not a political geography, but a spiritual heartland. As we observe this Foundation Day, we must commit ourselves to grounding our current material development in the profound spiritual and ethical principles inherited from great masters such as Buddha and Adi Shankara. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now we request Professor Malavika R. Haritha, Member Board of Governors, to deliver her address.
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೆ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ನನ್ನ ಶುಭ ಆಶಯಗಳು. ನನಗೆ ತುಂಬ ಸಂತೋಷ ಇವತ್ತು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ ಬಂದು ಮಾತಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೆ ಧನ್ಯವಾದ. I got a little nervous there, okay? On behalf of our chairman, Dr. Devi Shetty, who was unable to be here with us today, and on behalf of the Board of Governors of IIM Bangalore, it is my very pleasant duty to welcome you to our 52nd Foundation Day. May I wish the faculty, staff, students, and alumni all the best on this our 52nd birthday. And more importantly, thank you all for working tirelessly to make IIMB one of the premier management institutions, not just in India, but in the world. My greetings to our distinguished chief guest, former Foreign Secretary of India, Nirupama Rao, and our acting director, Professor Dinesh Kumar. On a personal note, Nirupama Rao is an alumni of the Mount Carmel College, to which I also belong, and is an extremely talented singer, in addition to being one of the most seasoned diplomats we have in the country. So thank you, ma'am, for gracing the occasion with your presence. My greetings to all our award winners and our alumni who are with us today. My life over the last 45 years has been, IIMB has been part of it since I joined here as a student in 1980. It is one of my love marks, and now you know exactly how old I am. I'm a strong believer in education, and while there are problems, I know, with our education system, let us fix them instead of decrying education itself to an impressionable younger generation who are already so confused with the life choices they have to constantly make. In my experience, knowledge is truly power, a quote which was originally attributed to the philosopher Francis Bacon. I believe knowledge, true knowledge, not the superficial variety we get today on social media, is the most potent tool to destroy fear. It frees the mind, it enriches it, and knowledge that helps us to explore the unknown, dispel myths and shibboleths, and gives us the power to control and not command the situation. As a woman, and as a leader over the last few years, I have realized that the only thing you really own is your knowledge of whichever subject you are a master at. The fire of self-confidence, the courage of our convictions, the spirit of resilience, and acceptance of failure, and determination to get up and get going is what knowledge teaches us and what education teaches us. So as educators and managers, it is our duty to keep asking oneself, am I current? Am I resting on my past laurels professionally and personally? Do I have the courage to leave my own comfort zone and explore this new world? Start relearning everything I know so that I can be a better guide to my circle of influence. And I believe you can only empower others if you are constantly willing to learn, adapt, and keep learning. The idea that knowledge is power is often used in the business world, especially in negotiations, and not always for the better. Because knowledge can be a competitive advantage, many are reluctant to share this knowledge with others. In reality, however, sharing knowledge is a very powerful dynamic and can create immense goodwill and influence, which alters a business relationship for the better. As Socrates said, I cannot teach anybody anything. I can only make them think. And that is what exactly IIM Bangalore teaches one to do. And that is what it has taught me to do over the last 45 years. It is epitomized in our motto, Tejasvi Navadittamastu. It signifies the goal of this institute to provide a holistic, transformative, and enlightening education to our students, fostering leaders and entrepreneurs, which is what we've been doing for the last 52 years. My love and blessings to all of you. Keep learning and keep growing. God bless.
Thank you, ma'am. We request the Director in charge to introduce the Chief Guest, Nirupama Rao, former Foreign Secretary of India.
I now have the privilege of introducing our Chief Guest, Nirupama Rao, former Foreign Secretary of India. She was the Foreign Secretary to the Government of India from 2009 to 2011. She was the first women spokesperson from 2001 to 2002 of the Indian Foreign Office. She served as India's first Women High Commissioner, Ambassador to Sri Lanka from 2004 to 2006, and to the People's Republic of China from 2006 to 2009. She was the Ambassador of India to the United States from 2011 to 2013. In retirement, she has taught at Brown and Columbia Universities, was a fellow at the New School in New York, and a public policy fellow at the Wilson Center in Washington, D.C. She is also the Vice Chairman of Tibet House, New Delhi, the cultural center of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Her book entitled The Fractured Himalaya, India, Tibet, and China, 1949 to 1962, was published in 2010. Just before we walked in, she donated one of the copies of the book, and it's a great reading for all of us. Welcome, ma'am.
Afraid I need something to. Shall I get my my cover? It has to stand actually. Okay, this.
Maybe if you stand like this.
Yeah, or maybe I can put it like. Put it like this.
Is the size okay?
Yeah, it's okay. Director of IIM Bangalore, Professor Dinesh, Professor Malavika, whose eloquent remarks were very meaningful and thoughtful. And as she mentioned, we have a special link, a special bond, because of the fact that we both studied at Mount Carmel College, one of the leading national institutions for women's education in the country, and other distinguished members of the faculty present on the stage and in the audience, to the award winners and to the alumni who are also here with us today, to our friends in the audience, and I'd like to give a special shout out to the youngest member in the audience. Would you stand up, please? I think that little boy and this little girl, both of them, let's give them. Before I commence my speech, I'd like to speak a little about how I came into public life. A very unexpected route in some senses of the word, because long before I sat across negotiating tables or debating policy frameworks, I sat with literature. And people sometimes ask what literature has to do with leadership. The answer to me is everything. Literature trains you to recognize that every individual carries a universe inside him or her, it reminds you that the metrics of performance and the language of efficiency contains fears and ambitions, heartbreak and hope. So a spreadsheet will tell you whatever strategy may work, and literature tells you whether it matters. Now, management schools such as yours, this distinguished institution of national excellence, teach you to diagnose problems and design solutions. And literature teaches you those quiet tremors that precede those problems. And it teaches you, as the director just now said, that logic without empathy becomes indifference. And that data, which is devoid of dignity, is very damaging to you and to those around you. So intelligence is not only the ability to reason, but the duty of care. Now, literature prepares you, but it was diplomacy that tested me. And diplomacy is really management without a safety net. Every negotiation is a study in human ambition, a balancing act between the world as it is and the world as it might be. If only we could convince each other to trust each other a little more. And it requires patience that doesn't drift into passivity. It asks you to stand for something solid while understanding the anxieties of those who stand elsewhere. So diplomats, like managers, know that success is often what doesn't happen. It is really the conflict that you are able to avert, the misunderstandings that you're able to ease, and the prevention of a crisis that really no one will read about. You may imagine diplomacy as grand gestures and dramatic breakthroughs, but insiders know that more than often it is a careful tending of relationships. And it's the courage to persist in the unglamorous work of cooperation. And I think that applies equally to management. So leadership is really a kind of moral engineering, and you're constantly calibrating between what is urgent and what is merely loud, who needs to be convinced and who needs simply to be heard. And you learn again and again, and this is my experience, that power is never a thing that you possess. It is a thing that other people entrust to you, and they can withdraw it in a heartbeat if they no longer see the purpose behind it. So literature and diplomacy may seem very far away from your campus map if you just look at the surface tensions, but put them together and you discover something essential. A leader is not the person with the most answers, but it's the one who stays curious the longest. I think you never stop learning. And you don't dominate the table, you get others to sit down at it. And it gives you the blueprint, like management does, to build institutions. It gives us the conscience to keep ourselves human. I thought I would start my talk with this, and now I will proceed to what I have to say. So I'm extremely privileged to be a part of your 52nd Foundation Day celebrations, and congratulations to the IIM for all the awards and recognition that you have garnered as an institution of utmost excellence. You define managerial excellence in India and abroad, and you are more than just a school of management, you're a school of consequence. Ideas that you generate take wing. Your alumni build, and the values you represent endure. Leaders you build are men and women of competence, but also of conscience, which is so important, ambitious, but deeply responsible. And it is that legacy and that spirit that all of us are gathered here to honor. And in the process, we will also examine the world for which you are preparing the next generation of leaders. The theme of my lecture is Beyond Borders, Preparing for a World in Transition. It is a phrase laden with both promise and tension. Borders are back in some places, they have never gone away in others, and yet they are dissolving in some situations. Technology is the buzzword today, but a classic human value, which is trust, is eroding. Economics is being rewired. Climate is a central actor. And most of all, we are witnessing the change of an era. The question is not whether the world is changing, that is more than evident. The real question is whether we will be able to shape the transition or be shaped by it. And the architects of the next era are all sitting here in the audience today. My perspective that I try to bring before you today is shaped by my years in diplomacy, working with partners and adversaries across regions and ideologies. Today, the vocabulary of global affairs has shifted. Aid, alignment, and ideology were issues we once argued about. Now the key requirement is trust. Trust in supply chains, trust in data, trust in standards, trust in institutions. Trust is not sentiment. It is now strategy. And strategy for countries and companies now begins with a simple, profound question: who can we rely on when it matters? The global operating system is moving towards multipolarity. The locus of power is no longer one capital or expressed through one model. The United States remains central. China is a dynamic, risen force. Europe wants to be a moral and economic anchor. Russia is an aggrieved outlier seeking redress from history. And the Indo-Pacific is a theater of consequence. But there is also a third force cutting across geographies, and what, for want of a better name, we call the Global South. There is a host of emergent, aspirational nations that expect to be at the table when decisions are shaped. We are witnessing a revolution of rising expectations in this group of countries. These are countries that want to shape the global future, to have their voices heard, and to be counted. India has been pivotal in this shift. Our approach is not non-alignment, mired in history. It is multi-alignment, calibrated by real-life situations. We want to build bridges, not blocks. We deal with all, but do not allow our sovereignty to be compromised. And this is why India's presidency of the G20 mattered. What you saw was a moment of realignment. Issues that were once side notes digital public infrastructure, climate finance, debt vulnerabilities, resilient supply chains, food and energy security moved to the center. The concerns of the developing world were no longer polite paragraphs, they became structural priorities. India led in shaping this narrative. Think about what that means. A nation that 78 years ago was counted among the poorest, written off by the experts, told it was too diverse to govern, too poor to develop, too complex to modernize, that nation set the agenda for the world's leading economic forum. It was not a transformation that happened through serendipity. It was the contribution of generations of Indians who refused to accept other people's definitions of what was possible. Geopolitics today is no longer defined by territory and force alone. 5 new dimensions shape influence. First, supply chains are the new borders. Where you source from defines who you depend on. Strategic autonomy includes semiconductors, critical minerals, pharmaceuticals, and digital infrastructure. Secondly, technology is the new territory. Artificial intelligence, quantum, and space are domains of strategic control. Third, data is the new diplomacy. Nations now negotiate digital flows as they once negotiated sea lanes and corridors, air corridors. Fourth, climate is the new conflict line. Resource stress and extreme weather will frame security for decades. Fifth, narrative power is the new battleground. Perception shapes legitimacy, markets, and policy. In short, geoeconomics now determines corporate destiny, and the new generation you represent must be geopolitically literate. Economically, we have moved from a world optimized for efficiency to a world reorganized for resilience. For 3 decades, globalization followed a simple principle: produce where costs are lowest, assemble where specialization is highest, sell where markets are largest. It was a period of extraordinary prosperity and extraordinary fragility. In 2020-21, a microscopic virus taught us that efficiency without resilience is fatally flawed. The world has not abandoned globalization, but it has begun to rebalance it. This is not de-globalization, perhaps you can call it re-globalization, built on diversification, trusted partners, and shock-resistant systems. Now, businesses no longer ask, where is production cheapest? The question has become, where is production safest and most trusted? You see the rise of friend-shoring, near-shoring, and increasingly India-shoring. India is not only a market of scale, it becomes a partner of principle. As investors pursue the China plus one, they search for an ecosystem that combines democratic stability, demographic vitality, digital inclusion, and a deepening manufacturing base. India ticks the boxes. We are moving from the back office of the world to what is perceived as the brain's trust of the world, the digital architect of the world, and increasingly, we could be and we must become the production platform for the world. The decisive capital of tomorrow will not be financial capital alone. It will include trust capital, credibility that attracts partnerships, data capital, digital sovereignty that enables innovation, demographic capital, which I just talked about, young minds that are educated, skilled, and healthy, capability when it comes to climate capital in renewables, storage, green hydrogen, and circularity, and cultural capital, the power to shape the global imagination through values and narrative. And India has strengths all across these five, but mere potential does not assure success. We have to convert advantage into strategy and strategy into replicable models. Technology, meanwhile, has crossed the threshold from drawing board to actual feel-the-ground terrain. Artificial intelligence is not a niche pursuit any longer. It is infrastructure that is turning existential, that will define our future. Those who build and govern AI ecosystems will shape industries and social rhythms from work and learning to credit and care. The new inequality may be the intelligence gap between nations and populations. But technology is not fate. It reflects human intention, carrying the bias of its creators and the values of its users. And that is why leadership in technology must be ethical. We should not outsource human judgment to algorithms. Efficiency is no substitute for empathy, and progress cannot come at the cost of dignity. India has chosen a path. We chose technology for public purpose, not for monopoly. Digital public infrastructure, identity, payments, health, education, logistics was built as interoperable public goods, not gated platforms. And what does that mean in human terms? It means a woman in a remote village in Rajasthan can open a bank account in minutes without travel, without gatekeepers, without pleading for dignity. We decided that the infrastructure of technological opportunity should go public. We scaled inclusion and truly established, in my view, a national public space. So when the world asks whether technology can expand access rather than deepen divides, India answers the question in practice, not just in theory. The next wave of AI will intensify this challenge. Deep fakes will blur the truth. Automated systems will test fairness. Predictive tools will risk perpetuating bias. Therefore, we have to lead not only in AI development, but in AI governance, transparent, accountable, and human-centered. These are not engineering questions alone. They are civilizational questions. And India can help frame the answers because it is a proven testing ground built on inclusiveness, innovation, and dynamic adaptation. Another transition is planetary. Climate change now determines economic destiny and national security. Droughts and floods destabilize food systems. Extreme heat cripples productivity. Rising seas displace communities. Fragile grids expose our vulnerabilities. So climate change is not an abstraction in a report. It is a mother wondering if her children will have water, a farmer looking at a failed crop, a future being written in real time. And we must anticipate it, envisage it, so we are well prepared to address these challenges. And this discourse about climate must move from guilt to responsibility and from pledges to execution. Here in this country, we have pursued practical coalitions, the International Solar Alliance, the Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure, and the Global Biofuels Alliance, all of them grounded in fairness and feasibility. Sustainability has to become the language of business and not only of policy. The companies that will endure will be regenerative enterprises, those that restore ecosystems, respect resources, and design for circularity. This is not idealism. It is about meeting risk with resilience, mitigation, and adaptation. If the first half of this address described the landscape, the rest is going to be about agency, what we choose to do with the world as it is and the world as it could be. For decades, India was described as the nation of the future, and all the while we have been adapting through steady reform, through the dignity of last mile delivery, in the routine miracle of digital inclusion, and in the persistence of a young workforce building and learning. India is no longer waiting to be invited to shape the global agenda. We would like to co-author the script. We are one of the world's largest economies and on course to climb further. But rankings, we know, are always built on development as justice, growth that broadens opportunity and deepens dignity, that leaves no one behind. Hundreds of millions have moved out of multidimensional poverty in a generation. Millions of women have entered finance networks and entrepreneurship. Small enterprises are joining formal supply chains. Digital rails reduce friction and corruption. Consider the magnitude of that transformation. In one generation, we have lifted more people out of poverty than some continents actually house. We have connected more people to banking than many developed nations have citizens. We vaccinated 1 billion people in a pandemic. These are not just statistics, they are proof of what is possible when a democracy decides that every life has equal worth, when a nation refuses to leave anyone behind. This is the grammar of hope, hope backed by competence and openness. Now, leadership in such an era must be principled without rigidity, modern without ruthlessness, and strong without aggression. India as a country can embody this because we do not treat diversity as a problem to be tolerated. We treat it as a strength to be organized. Prosperity is not measured by markets alone, it is measured by dignity. And technology must serve humanity, must not replace it. So these are the civilizational values inherent to us as a nation. They are not political lines that I am articulating. And nations that carry such values do not need to raise their voices because the world eventually listens. India's development journey offers a framework others can adopt, a three-dimensional model of progress. First, democracy that delivers, freedom strengthened by accountability, and debate aligned with outcomes. Second, inclusive development, measuring success not only on how high GDP rises, but by how widely benefits are spread. And then, as I mentioned, the digital for public good technology, which expands access and does not entrench divides. So this is humanity-centered progress. The director referred to it when he spoke of the travels of Xuanzang, the 7th century Chinese pilgrim who braved the sands of the Central Asian deserts to come to India to understand what our civilizational strength really encapsulated, that resilience and that inclusivity. But future leaders, all of you who sit in the audience today, must help build an even more dynamic future for India. because that future cannot be written by government alone. It has to be written in boardrooms and studios, labs and logistics hubs, startups and social enterprises, classrooms and community networks. It will be written by the entrepreneur who sees a local problem and builds a solution that scales, by the engineer who refuses to accept that good technology must be expensive technology, by the social innovator who knows that the distance between poverty and prosperity is sometimes just one good idea, executed with compassion and competence. Across the world, institutions face a crisis of trust. The issue is not only corruption, it is disconnection, decisions made too far from people they affect. So leadership must return to these first principles: integrity, courage, empathy, responsibility, and public purpose. Business cannot thrive in a society that fails. Profit without purpose is incomplete. And strategy matters, and above all, character is strategy under pressure. Swami Vivekananda reminded us we are responsible for what we are and whatever we wish ourselves to be. We have the power to make ourselves. Those words burn with a urgency today. You have the power now, not later. The question is, what will you do with it? Leadership begins with responsibility and not with entitlement. Coming to women's leadership, this is not a social add-on. It is a strategic imperative. No society can rise if half its talent is sidelined. When women lead, outcomes improve across governance, health, finance, and innovation. I think of Ritu Karidhal, Mission Director of Chandrayaan-2, whose work helped guide our spacecraft to the moon, of fighter pilots defending our skies, of self-help groups where women who were once told they could not handle money now handle millions, invest wisely, and uplift entire communities. These are not exceptions. They mark the landscape of modern India. The Women's Reservation Act is not only a constitutional milestone, it is a declaration that the future will be co-authored. If your boardrooms do not reflect diversity, your strategies are incomplete. And inclusion is not charity, it is intelligence. It is how organizations future-proof themselves. And I remember these words from the Shanti Parva in the Mahabharata: Strinam devaha upajivanti. Even the gods depend on the strength of women. Coming to corporate ethics, they can't be relegated to compliance desks. Around the world, success has sometimes been celebrated without examining its foundations, and we have seen the consequences: financial manipulation packaged as innovation, exploitation disguised as growth, opacity rewarded as strategy. When ethics collapse, systems collapse. Values are not obstacles to performance, they are the scaffolding for it. And the companies that endure treat ethics as culture, not paperwork. And they understand that social license is a strategic asset, not a public relations line. What does that mean for management education and IIM Bangalore? It means moving from teaching problem solving to cultivating future building with an open mind, and I'm sure you are already doing this. The world needs leaders who are economically intelligent and geopolitically aware, technologically fluent and ethically grounded, data-driven and human-centered, competitive in markets and collaborative across borders, ambitious in goals and anchored in purpose. So the age of single discipline leadership is past. This is the age of integrated leadership, leaders who translate across domains, business and policy, science and society, finance and climate, local knowledge and global standards. And the same applies to any other field of work, whether it's governance, diplomacy, my old field. I think in most areas of life which involves dealing with social issues. You came here to get more than a piece of paper called a degree. Your education is not a transaction, it is meant to transform. Your mandate is to create what Baba Saheb Ambedkar called a Prabuddha Bharat, an enlightened India shaped by knowledge, justice, and human dignity. I see that as a responsibility to build spaces across this country where intellect is valued, inquiry is free, and humanism is a lived ethic. This Prabuddha Bharat is what we must create from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, not as an ideal, but as a national duty. Now, these are not romantic notions from another age. They are principles that should continue to guide us, because a nation that neglects the life of the mind will eventually suffer the poverty of ideas. And the poverty of ideas is the most dangerous poverty of all. IIM Bangalore has the heritage and the capacity to lead this shift. Your graduates already influence policies, build institutions, scale companies, and strengthen civil society. Allow me to offer a leadership compass for a world in transition. Lead beyond borders, build for India and the world at once. Design for impact, not applause. Do what is necessary, not what is fashionable. Build resilience before scale. Grow strong, then grow fast. Like Japan, Korea, South Korea, China, and Singapore, learn from global best practices. Live the examined life. Leverage each of your strengths into global reach. Like China, never settle for the small or the middling. Aim for the global heights. Rethink modernity in Indian terms. Retain the Bharatiya Atma, but think in terms of learning from the wisdom of the world also. Incorporate Vishwa Vidya into your plans for the future. Build a cosmopolitan, open-minded India that shapes global imagination beyond borders. And one piece of advice, and which I learned from literature and perhaps to some extent from diplomacy, cultivate the art of listening. Listen carefully. Listen attentively. Don't listen impatiently, waiting for your turn to speak. It's very important to cultivate the art of listening. To the students in this hall, you are not only future managers, you are trustees of India's next quarter century. The years ahead, what is called our Amrit Kal, will shape the destiny of our nation and lead it to developed country status, and may influence the character of this century globally. Look around this auditorium. Your classmates reflect every corner of India, languages, religions, backgrounds. You are India in microcosm. If you can build together here, collaborate, compete fairly, support and challenge one another, respect difference while pursuing excellence, you can prove that the Indian model works. You become living proof that diversity is not a weakness to be managed, but a superpower to be unleashed. So no government program can achieve what a generation with courage can do. I am often asked what public service means to me as a former civil servant. I say that it means strengthening the society that made you. And this public service is not confined to Parliament or the civil services. Public service can be an entrepreneur solving a social problem, a technologist building tools for inclusion, a teacher defending futures, a journalist defending the truth, a startup founder in agriculture, a business building livelihoods, and a leadership delivering solutions. Wherever someone works with integrity, responsibility, and public purpose, that is public service to me. We stand at the intersection of responsibility and possibility, and the world is not asking India for permission, it is asking India for leadership. And India is looking to leaders like you, and public service is the bridge that leads you to that future. So let us lead with courage and humility, with innovation and integrity, with ambition and empathy. Let's build markets that reward responsibility and technologies that expand dignity and institutions that outlast the moment. And I remember those words from Chanakya Niti, Parahitartham idam shariram. This life is meant for service to others. Borders may divide nations, but they must never divide vision. The future will not be built by those who stand behind walls, but by those who build bridges across them. And the world is waiting not for that perfect plan, not for a risk-free path, not for permission from those who came before. The world is waiting for you to begin. So begin, and begin today, begin here, begin with the belief that what you do matters, that where you come from does not limit where you can go, that the circumstances of your birth do not determine the significance of your life. India believed that 78 years ago when the odds were impossible. Look what we built. Now it's your turn. The foundation has been laid, the tools have been given to you, and the opportunity is yours to grasp. Build something worthy of more than this moment. Build something worthy of the potential that we represent as a nation. Build something worthy of a future that is counting on you. So let me offer my grateful thanks and my warmest wishes to IIM Bangalore and to your community on this Foundation Day. May your ideas continue to take wing, your values continue to endure, and your leadership continue to serve not just India, but humanity across borders. India believes in you. Now, young graduates, it is your turn to lead. Thank you.
You can sit there. I will
Okay.
ask a question. Give her a. Thank you, madam, for your words of inspiration. It's inspiring for our students, but at the same time, it also makes us aware of our responsibilities. With your permission, I will relay a couple of questions which has been given by our students and staff, and we will ask you that. The first one is by Mr. Ganesh, who is a member of our staff. I don't know whether he is present in the audience. The question is as follows. It appears that cross-border trade seems to have become a weapon in geopolitics, forcing countries towards insular self-reliance. Do you see this as a direction towards return of imperialism, where countries have to rely on conquests to gain resources and not on trade relationships?
Shall we wait for...
May I request all of you to please settle down?
Yeah. Thank you for that question. Very well thought out question. I noticed the use of the word imperialism. It's not I think it should not be a part of the vocabulary of the 21st century. We are all equal nations, and I cannot imagine a country like India ever subjecting itself to the pressures and the oppressions of imperialism anymore. But coming to the crux of the question, trade is our bloodstream today. I mean, 4 nations all across the globe. And it causes a lot of turmoil. You've seen, what has happened with the tariffs announcements from the United States in the second presidency of Mr. Trump. And diplomacy, therefore, seems to reach beyond borders. It goes beyond borders. It is about semiconductors, it is about shipping lanes, it is about supply chains, as I mentioned in my speech. Who controls the batteries on your phone, for instance? And that is how future is determined. And corporations, big corporations, giant corporations are very, very influential in geopolitics today. You saw the role that Elon Musk played for a few months of the new presidency of Mr. Trump. And small states, on the other hand, small states, which have access to critical minerals, for instance, and critical rare earths, they push above their weight. So it's all a question of leverage also, in many ways. Economic tools have become strategic tools today, to answer your question, and supply chains are being weaponized. So this is really the world that we have to kind of prepare ourselves for, the challenges confronting us. So to sum it all up, trade is now very much a part of the arena of geopolitics.
Thank you, madam. The second question comes from our student Shruti Hesyagar. Is Shruti part of audience somewhere? Shruti is there. Let me read out the question for you. This is about sustainability, which you already talked about. What opportunities does the evolving global sustainability landscape provide to India? How can we position ourselves as the hub for sustainable products and solutions? How does the carbon border tax affect our global relations?
Well, I think the answer should be apparent to all of us. Every time you pick up the newspaper today or you listen to a speech by one of our political leaders, it's about preparing yourself for a green future, for renewables, for sustainable infrastructure, all the economic opportunities that are inherent in this for any country, for that matter. Talk of wind and solar energy equipment, the opportunities to manufacture them, the millions of jobs that will create. And also, in a sense, we are able to leapfrog in terms of development, leapfrog over eras that we missed out on, because we are able to capture and command the new technologies. So it is that the possibilities and the potential that sustainable development, particularly in energy and green energy, opens for us that I think we need to focus on. And indeed, I believe countries like India are focusing on. And when it comes to the carbon border adjustment mechanism, it's definitely a threat to some of our industries, particularly iron and steel, and where the carbon efficiency is being questioned. So I think it is also a wake-up call for us to make the adjustments and the adaptation and the changes that are necessary to upgrade the levels of our production and the quality of our production. But yes, this is definitely a challenge that is going to come into play in the near future, and we have to prepare ourselves for it. Yes, it is not going to be entirely in our interest, because in some senses we are yet to completely prepare ourselves for it. But I think we understand the urgency of what confronts us and the adjustments that we need to make.
Thank you. We can have one question from the audience. You have to raise your hand. Yes, there, gentlemen. Yeah. Please keep it short and come to the question fast. Yeah.
Sure. Good evening, ma'am. Thank you for your insightful speech. I'm Samrit, a PhD student here. My question is on the concept of development which you gave in your speech. I noticed that there are two camps nowadays. when it comes to defining development. One camp is on the global side that says that we need to stick to global scales of development because that gives us tangible outcomes and every nation can relate to it and have a common goal for what development means. Another camp is that every nation should kind of have its own localized definition of what development is because they believe that the current scales conform to a particular worldview that might not align with their own. So my question, ma'am, is as for our country, how do you think India should define its concept of development with respect to these two camps? Thank you.
Well, I think from the point of view of our experience as a unique nation, in many ways a laboratory of the human race, India is, I think the experiences of economic and social development over the last 7 decades itself become a metric for us when we look at how to calibrate development for the future, the lessons that we have learned, and also the add-ons now from technology, from digital public infrastructure, digital public goods. I think the aim of inclusivity and not leaving anybody behind should become the ultimate metric for our development. And I don't think it contradicts what global indicators of development are. When you talk of a human development index also, you are talking of all these issues: social, economic development, inclusivity, equality, especially where you know groups of the population that have been left outside, left behind are concerned. So in a sense, I don't believe there are inherent contradictions between how in the global sense development is viewed and how in the national sense we address the challenges of development. That is my view.
Thank you, madam. And there will be one last question that I will ask using my position. Okay. Madam, the question is for this one. You talked about trust and in the context of geopolitics. Now, what we have learned is trust is built over long term. But looking at what is happening world over, it seems to be that everything is about short-termism, about making a deal and moving on. So how do we reconcile these two?
We live in very difficult, challenging times. There is no question about that. I've often said, you know, although we are into the 3rd decade of the 21st century, it's very much a turn of the century feeling that you get. A time of transition. As I said in my address, it's a change of an era. You are dealing with completely new factors. You're not dealing with a post-World War II world anymore. You're not dealing with the post-Cold War world anymore. You are dealing with a world of multipolarity. You are dealing with new centers of power. You're dealing with new aspirations, new expectations. And on the other hand, in many of those areas of the world which had for decades sought to define what a rules-based international order would be, they are themselves throwing the rule book away and you know, coming up and redefining and repurposing the way they deal with the world. So in many ways, I think this is a time of great challenge, testing of your capacity and your capabilities. And many of us, like in India, India is a country that in many ways is on the threshold of greatness. It is still time, few years to go, decades perhaps to go, as it prepares itself for that leading position on the global stage. So what we need is time. What we need is how to navigate this transition and how we build strength internally. Because ultimately, the measure of a country's influence, power, and capacity to withstand the kind of challenges that we face today, especially we in the global south, will be measured by the strength that we develop internally, the consolidation of development, the strength of our economy, the definition of what the Chinese call comprehensive national strength. I think that is important.
Thank you, madam, and I hand over the stage to Colonel.
Now we request Professor Malvika Haritha, Member Board of Governors, IIM Bangalore, to present a memento to the Chief Guest, Ms. Nirupama Rao. Now we would like to recognize the valuable contributions of our alumni. We request Professor Saurav Mukherjee, Dean Faculty and Dean Alumni Relations and Development, to conduct the award ceremony.
Thank you, Colonel. Professor Dinesh Kumar, Director in Charge, have already announced the winners. What I will do is I will tell you a little bit about them, a little bit more. But before that, let me also tell you about this Alumni Service Award. This is which was constituted during our Golden Jubilee celebrations, which was about 2 years ago. And this is an award to recognize the contribution of our alumni to the institute and alumni community. It is conferred every year on the Foundation Day, with each Alumni Service Award winner receiving a citation. I would like to now invite the winners and request Professor Dinesh Kumar, our director, to hand over the memento to them, and they will speak a few words. The first award winner is Naveen Kumar, PGP 1999. Naveen comes with 30 plus years of rich and varied experience working in national and international markets as an entrepreneur and a corporate leader in the technology and talent services space. Over the years, he has continued to engage with both his alma mater and the IIM Bangalore Alumni Association. He has been an adjunct and visiting faculty at IIM Bangalore for many years. He was also the convener for IIMB 2016, IIM Bangalore Alumni Association's flagship leadership conclave. As Vice President of IIMB during 2018 and 19, he helped establish several policies for laying the foundation of IIMB trust workings. IIM Bangalore cherishes the continued help and support that he has extended to the institute and to the alumni ecosystem. Naveen, I invite you to share a few words.
Thank you, Saurabh. Good evening, everyone. It's a privilege and an honor to be receiving the Alumni Service Award today. This award is not just a celebration of my journey, but the bonds we share as a community, and I see a whole lot of us here. Thank you to everyone who has helped me on this journey. First, to my family for standing by me all these years and bearing me. To my beautiful wife, Monica, who's here in the audience. Thank you for encouraging me to give my best to the alumni cause. Without your active support, things wouldn't have been the same. To my daughters, Anabra, who's not here, and Anvi, who's here, for their understanding, and to my mother, who's here, and my late father for instilling the spirit of service in me. To my professors who have guided and inspired me during the journey, special thanks to Professor Oja, who's not here today, who has nudged and egged me to contribute since the time I relocated to Bangalore in 2009. To all the Dean Alumni Relations that I have worked with, Professor Vasanthi, Professor Kumar, and Professor Saurav Mukherjee. To Professor RTK for his leadership and guidance, and to the current director in charge, Professor Dinesh Kumar, and to well-wishers like Professor Suresh Bhagwatullah. To all my friends, colleagues, and collaborators, a lot of them are here. Special shout out to the one and only Harish Mittal, who's not here today, whom I call the Bhishma Pitama of IIMB. He's the sheet anchor, always there, always standing. I don't know how he does it, though. To my juniors from the Y2K batch, I'm 99. So since they were my juniors, I got them to do a lot of work. So for bearing with me during IMBUs and Anusmarans, Shashank, Rajiv, Vishal, and Monica, they're all here. Rajiv couldn't make it. Thank you to Saif, the first president we had of IIMB, Vipul, Guru, Deepu, here in the audience, Subodh, Manju, Lokesh, our office anchor, he's the only permanent employee we have, and the wider IIMB team. To my team from my company, very important, for holding the fort while I've been away for alumni work, which has been many months and years at times, actually. Finally, to the alumni office for their unwavering support, especially for our engagement with the Insti. You know, I mean, all alums will know, dealing with the Insti is not easy. So this started with Rakesh Godwani, the great catalyzer, and was ably followed by Aparna, Partha here, and the current incumbent Utanka. So after all the thank yous, a little bit of where we need to be headed to. So our alumni ecosystem has come a long way. I mean, in the last 10, 15 years, I think we have achieved a whole lot, but I think this is still work in progress. And I think it's akin to the state of my garden at home, which has always been work in progress. So as you would have guessed, I love gardening. And some years ago, I had set a target for myself to grow 100% of our veggies and fruits requirement in-house. I'm sure it's a difficult one, right? So after multiple trial and errors, I proudly say that I've achieved around 60-70% of the target. So while this is good progress, but the goal is still very far away. And growing beyond this requires innovation and probably some disruptions. The one which I'm currently grappling with is achieving self-sufficiency in our annual requirement of turmeric, the humble turmeric. And believe me, it's not easy and has required me to change my approach thrice. And I still haven't gotten there. Hopefully this year it will happen. IIMB is like a second home to me, and I don't live very far away from here. I believe the alumni Insti ecosystem is akin to my garden. Unlike the other garden, like my home garden, this one has many more cultivators, but with one common goal of making this the best alumni Insti ecosystem in the world. Over the last 10-15 years of trials and travails, I'm proud to say that we have become the most vibrant in the country for sure. Give ourselves a big hand. However, like my garden, the bigger goal continues to be work in progress. Probably it will stay that way for a long time. And like my garden, this will require a pipeline of innovative and probably disruptive projects. The one that we are collectively grappling with, and which is my favorite one, is reversing the current equation of our engagement with the alumni. Rather than we chasing the alumni, what can we do that the alumni chases us? And the day we achieve, things are going to be very different. But like the turmeric in my garden, this has taken multiple attempts. However, success has been still very limited. But I'm confident that we'll get there soon, and then the tsunami that results with the change in modus operandi will make us the best in the world. Thank you, and let's keep tending the garden. Good night from mine.
Thank you, Naveen. Our next recipient is Karan Bhagat, PGP 2001. So Karan is the founder, managing director and chief executive officer of 360 ONE, a leading wealth and asset management company in India with over, there are some numbers with plenty of zeros, crores in asset under management, and it must have increased by the time he was here. Karan has made significant contributions to IIM Bangalore, supporting the institute's mission to nurture future leaders and made a lasting impact on management education and research in India. As a part of IIM Bangalore Alumni Network, Karan has been a strong supporter of IIMB and that convenes global change makers, thinkers, and visionaries. Through his financial contributions, active engagement, and thought leadership, he has demonstrated an enduring commitment to the Institute and the wider alumni community and embodies the spirit of service and lifelong connection that the Alumni Service Award celebrates. Karan, please take the stage.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for having me here. And let me start off by saying the moment I walked in, I had full goosebumps and it a super feeling of emotion and nostalgia. And I was really surprised to see one same security guard from 2001. And most importantly, the same egg anda patties person also still here. So, we had a great 2 years in campus, and I think can't really kind of forget what we've learned here. I think the first lesson I really learned from campus is we came from Calcutta from a Catholic school, and the only thing we've not ever used is a computer keyboard. And I think the first 3 months in campus, our biggest fear was how quickly will we be able to type out our projects. But I think that's the first quality we all learned. We learned how to fail. And I remember, I think it was semester 2, I scored a 1.6 or 1.7 out of 4 on Indian Society, Professor Meera Bakru. And that really kind of got us all about all modesty and humility which could come really came in those 6 to 9 months. So I really remember campus as being one place which really taught us to be as humble as possible. The second thing which I really love about campus and it really kind of gets the best out of me is I always remember IIM Bangalore as a very diverse campus. On a lighter note, I remember in our batch compared to Ahmedabad, Bangalore and Calcutta, I think we had around about 45 girls out of 225, which was nearly 20% of the batch or 25% of the batch as compared to, I think, a moderate 5, 10, 15% in other campuses. And the one thing, and as I heard that today also, I think IIM Bangalore has always been very diverse, very open to change, very open to experiment. I think even in those days, we had a technology cell, we had an entrepreneurial cell all the way back in the early 2000s and the late 90s. And I think if I was to think about one quality which I took away from here, it was all about getting superb exposure. I was fortunate to end up doing an exchange program in a school called Lisade in Spain. And I think what really I got out of those 2 years was exposure and the ability to interact with peers and be myself. And I think that for me was compounded with the learning which I had. I think the third thing which really kind of excited me about campus in more ways than one was I think fun and education went hand in hand somehow. I think those 18, 19, 20 hours at the mess with the late night Maggies and all the amphitheater movies never kind of came in way of work. And even today we have a group of 10 friends and a couple of them got married to each other, so effectively 9 friends and one couple. We call ourselves the B School family, which is IIM Bangalore B School family, and we still make it out for a couple of one holiday every couple of years along with the family. So those bonds have continued, and it's a lot of fun, education and learning. And we made some friendships and built some values which have lasted us over the last 20-25 years. Whenever I think about IIM Bangalore, I really wished to reach here in the morning today with my lovely wife Shilpa and both my twin kids. Unfortunately, we made it only in the evening, so I've promised myself and her that we have to come back again soon, stay a night at MIDC, take them around campus, show everything which we had. And I think honestly, those 2 years and the weather in Bangalore that time had so much value to add and so much of learning. I wish we all can take out some of our times from our own busy lives and be able to contribute in a more meaningful way. Finally, a lot of gratitude to be able to give back in any possible way, financially, non-financially, being able to teach. Education has been my biggest passion since I was a child, and hopefully, over the next 5-10 years, we'll have ample opportunities to come back to campus. In more ways than one, I think all of us as alumni can contribute in a much larger way. I think we've just touched the tip of the iceberg, and special thanks to some names which come right at the top of my mind. I'm sure I'm going to miss out a lot of names. Late Mr. M.R. Rao, who was the director in our batch. Professor Janat Shah, who was our chairperson, lot to learn from him. Professor Rishikesh, who kind of stayed in touch post IIM Bangalore also, and had the opportunity to interact with him at least 4 to 5 times post that. Obviously, acting director, Mr. Dinesh Kumar, Saurabh Mukherjee, who had the who's now teaching one of my favorite subjects, organizational behavior. One of the few subjects I did really well in, and he had the good and bad luck of overlapping 1 year with me. And finally, to Chief Guest Nirupama, spoke really well. Lot to learn from you. And Mr. Devi Shetty, who's not here, Malvika, and all the rest of the Board of Governors. Thanks a lot for doing this. And finally, Harish Mittal, who's again kind of, and Shashank and Saif, all the way, who kind of never give up, and they're always kind of ensuring that we are able to contribute in whatever way possible. So super humbled and super excited to be here, and thanks for the recognition, and hopefully we can add more. Thank you.
So on a personal note, Karan and I, along with 7 other students, traveled to St. Gallen in Switzerland after having qualified for an essay competition. That was a whale of a time, so amazing, yeah. Okay, our final recipient is Michael Sequeira, PGP 2010. Michael, on the stage, please. Michael, I will just read out the introduction. Michael works as a legal officer with Sanctuary Group in England. Mike, as he is known by his classmates, has a visual impairment and belongs to the PGP class of 2010. Mike's journey was instrumental in helping us better understand the needs of students with disabilities and led to the establishment of the Office of Disability Services in 2010, the first of its kind at any IIM. He helped build the Stars of IIM Bangalore Group, a platform for knowledge sharing and collaboration between the alumni and current students with special needs. He also conceived ODS Connect, an alumni-led series that amplifies the voices of graduates with disabilities, positioning IIM Bangalore as a leader in campus on inclusivity. His commitment and meaningful contributions make Michael a truly deserving winner of this particular award. Michael, over to you.
So first of all, yeah, thank you. Chennagidra. Yeah. Yeah, so first of all, I may not see most of you all. So while you're in the audience, my heartfelt gratitude to my professors, to my students, most importantly, and to all of you here who know me. Dear all, it's a prestigious award, isn't it? The ASA award. And I never dreamt that I would get this award. But if I were to touch your hearts and your minds today, let our dreams be our purpose. I hope that my speech will touch each of you. And when you go back to your homes and to your communities and to your larger society at large, you will see echo of it in society, and you will talk about today's speech. As I stand before you tonight, I'm filled with emotion, gratitude, pride, and a profound sense of purpose. Now, I know Professor Saurav introduced me as a visually impaired, and you must be wondering how he's reading from a sheet. That's for you to answer. First and foremost, my heartfelt thanks to the Institute, the IIM Alumni Association, and the panel who deemed me worthy of this honor. Receiving this award for contributing to the establishment of the Office of Disability Services, now the Office of Diversity and Inclusion, or the ODI, is deeply meaningful. It reflects not just my journey, but the collective progress we made. Could we all clap for that, please? Now here comes the shocker. I was born with nystagmus. I've got my mom in the audience, Glennis Sequeira. Nystagmus is a condition where you can't see sideways. You face difficulty in crossing roads. It is a condition where you're vulnerable to possibly losing one's life. And I entered this institute with those, dreams, to possibly contribute to the institute, but mostly learn. I read a board that said, let your study be enlightening. And I hope so that today when I'm sharing this speech with you, that holds worthy to what I'm going to share. I suffer from optic atrophy, loss of peripheral vision, and epilepsy. I share my lived experience with pride. For those of you who know me, I believe the world changes only when we choose to be the change. It's a choice, a timeless quote by Mahatma Gandhi that guides my life and my purpose. I hope my story resonates with each of you tonight. Now, equity teaches us not to treat everyone the same, but to create conditions where everyone can thrive. Over the past 15 years, IIM Bangalore has listened to 250 students like me and acted. Today it stands as the top choice for students with disabilities. Let me go a step forward and say that it's not just IIM Bangalore, but any IIM today has an Office of Diversity and Inclusion, right? We are privileged to have with us Professor RTK or Professor Rishikesh T. Krishnan, who was the director during my time, and somebody with whom I share a very personal bond and a very, very close relationship in terms of the feedback I shared to the institute. He was pivotal in my journey, and like-minded professors in the crowd, Professor Nayantara, Professor Shankar Venkatagiri, Professor Mukta Kulkarni, you don't want me to go on, but most importantly, Professor Rajalakshmi Murthy, my faculty mentor. These were people who were instrumental in my journey, and they took my feedback and like-minded batchmate feedback very seriously, and they founded the ODS in my graduating year. They truly did the right thing. Thanks to their vision, IIMB now welcomes students with a wide range of disabilities. Let me awaken you. It is visual, hearing, locomotive, intellectual, conditions like thalassemia, possibly a lot more. From admissions onwards, each student completes a reasonable adjustment form, followed by a personalized needs assessment. Both academic and non-academic support is tailored accordingly. I encourage you to visit the ODI page. If you have your cell phones, do it right away. It may benefit you, especially if you're a parent or a recruiter sitting in this audience. I know this speech is going live to 57 countries or more. I want it to touch everybody. I work with Sanctuary Group. My directors are listening to this, my CEO, my boss. Inclusion is a core value we breathe and we believe. Professor Saurabh introduced me as a legal officer, but there's a lot more to me that I want to share tonight. I'm proud to share about Stars at IIM Bangalore, a vibrant community of 150 alumni, people like myself, students who passed out from this institute, who work closely with the ODI. Each year, we support incoming students through induction talks, mentorship during placements, and a WhatsApp network, that fosters connections. My thanks to the chairs over the years, Professor RTK, Professor Rajalakshmi Murthy, Professor Srinivas Rangan, and the current chair, Professor Anil Suraj. And the incredible team led by Kushbu Changani for their unwavering support. I was just given 5 minutes. Sorry, I'm really emotional at this time, but I was given 5 minutes. And this is my 5-fold message to you. And to all of you who have possibly people in your families, people in your teams, the larger society, Nirupama ma'am spoke about how ideas can be poverty, right? And if you change those ideas, possibly the world can, diversity can win on the boardroom, right? I'm not able to narrate it as beautifully as she said it, but I hope I said the right thing. Or Professor Harita spoke about, possibly knowledge is power, right? And today these 5 ideas should resonate with each of you. The first one, become the best version of yourself. Today I live in the UK. I've traveled all the way independently to be with you for the first time. My journey took courage, support, and above all, it took faith. To my students, if I can thrive, so can you. If you're a student with an unseen disability, believe in yourself. You've earned your place here, and you can go far. My second message, give back to your alma mater. Please give back to your alma mater. They say we learn 80% of what we know by teaching others. That is the ethos of Stars at IIM Bangalore. We would like to host panel discussions, workshops, guest lectures, and continue the mentorship session. I thank the ODS, the student representatives, Sahil Chowdhury, Ronak Oberoi, Aditya Singhvi, Jaskaran Singh, Himanshu Mittal, Dhruv Batra, Soumya GL, Shalini Gupta, Durga Prasad, Jivtesh Wagh, Nimay Bagadia, Dharmik Odich, and the current batch, which is Archana P., the second year student, and Arpan Goel, for building a thriving community. Our goal is to collaborate with the Alumni Association and expand our reach over the next 3 years. Now, the most important thing, society needs role models. Through the ODS Connect series, we share alumni stories. People like Shriram, Nitin would know him, batch of 1998, who ranked 7th in the batch and won a gold medal and won a medal, for outstanding achievement. Today, Shriram was, by the way, the first blind student of IIM Bangalore. All right. Today, he is an advisory member at Continual Engine and contributes to organizations like Samarthan Assistive Technology Accelerator. He designs accessible tech. Or Sarjan Sachdeva, who's based in London, a good friend of mine. Sarjan works with Amazon and is a bilateral amputee athlete. There are more stories coming to you. Follow ODS Connect, get inspired. We are bringing those episodes to you. We look forward to you sharing them. Hire persons with disabilities. To the organizations, I was hired from campus by Wipro Consulting. And in 2012, I received the prestigious National Award for Empowerment of Persons with Disabilities, given by late Shri Pranab Mukherjee. That recognition inspired others to follow suit. It was the managers and teams who saw the need for equity and they acted. Be yourself, be authentic. The final one. Living with an unseen disability and asking for support isn't easy. Right? So, for example, when I went to the MDC this afternoon to have lunch, I memorized the steps. I know the campus by steps. I possibly know the turns. I can run faster than each of you. We can try a race. But authentically, it builds respect. Organizations, join organizations that allow you to be your true self. Seek teams and managers who believe in you. I presently work with Sanchari Group as a legal officer, and my journey is testimony to what inclusion could be. I have my leaders listening to me, where inclusion is a core value of the organization. Tonight I'm joined by my family. I wouldn't do justice if I didn't name my brother Mark Sikwera, his wife Shefali and her parents, and my sister Marlene Sikwera, Mark, and all of my family here. My faculty. Right, if I'm comfortable and I'm able to talk to you, it is my faculty. It's professors like Professor Nayantara, Professor Mukta Kulkarni, Professor Vasanthi Srinivasan, Professor Saurabh Mukherjee, Professor Jaidev, all of them who've come to encourage me and have come to be this part of this journey as I share in this milestone. From UK, watching you live are my 3 children, Samuel, Nathaniel, and Kiara, and my wife, who has been my support, Dr. Delon D'Souza. Her parents and her 3 beautiful children mean the world to me. They are my bedrock, and I'm eternally grateful for their love and acceptance. I also want to congratulate Karan Bhagat and Naveen Kumar for their well-deserved recognition tonight. I look forward to knowing more about you. Friends, with that, please enjoy the evening. I thank the panel, Uttanka, Professor Saurabh, my batchmate Deepu, right? And all of you who played a role in this. It is not just an award for me, but for everybody part of the stars at IIM Bangalore, for every student with disabilities who's graduated from this prestigious institution, for the faculty, and for the alumni in the days to come. Please enjoy the evening. I look forward to supporting our students and doing more in the days to come and in the years to come. Thank you all.
Now we would like to recognize the valuable contributions of our staff who have spent many valuable years in service to the Institute. These awards are for completing 10 years service with the Institute. We request Professor Jaydev, Dean Administration, to give thanksgiving to the staff and announce their mementos.
Honorable Chief Guest of today's function, Madam Nirupama Rao, and our board member, Professor Malavika Harita, Director in charge, Professor Dinesh Kumar, and my colleagues, Saurav, and all other esteemed colleagues and ladies and gentlemen. On this occasion, it is our convention to respect our staff members who have been immensely contributing for the growth and development and well functioning of the institution. So I take privilege and pride to call them. I request Professor Malavika Harita to hand over the long service award to the employees who have completed 10, 20 and 30 years of service at IIM Bangalore. The names are in alphabetical order. So Miss Anindita Chakrabarti, she joined in 2015. She is working for communications department and a very dedicated, disciplined, and she has been very great sense of humor. Next is Miss Ankita Maslekar. Ankita is working with Alumni Office, and we can say 24/7 her services are available, and she is very quick in responding to mails and as well as WhatsApp messages and establishing good connections with the Alumni Office. My another colleague is Mr. Arindam Rai. Arindam has been working with the admissions department. So Miss Safia Aziz, she has been working with faculty block as a project executive, and with various committees and projects she has been contributing a lot her secretarial services. Dr. Sudha Rao, she is currently working in Office of the Dean Programs, and she was earlier in Executive Education, and she has been providing dedicated services, and she looks after the providing material for ranking of institutions and all that ranking agencies. And Mohsina Jabin, she has been working with executive education, a team player, a very positive attitude. Miss Padmini, currently she is working with State Department in Contracts Division, and she was with the Accounts Department also and contributed to other departments. Mr. Pradeep Sahu, Pradeep Kumar Sahu. Pradeep has been working as a manager with hostel office, and all our boys and girls are very healthy, the food selected by him. Again, timings are not applicable to him. He is available entire 24/7 service. Yeah. Mr. Rajesh, he provides food for thought by working in library. Rajesh contributes to cultural activities of IIM Bangalore also. So, Mr. Ravi Shankar is in Accounts Department. Mr. Satish Kumar Ji. Satish currently is a facility manager with reference to executive education programs, MDC, and earlier he was in executive education. Today lunch, if you must have enjoyed, and all his arrangements and all that one. Miss Sudha Gurunathan. Sudha has been working with faculty, providing committed secretarial services. Miss Sumitra, she has been working with faculty in providing the faculty services. And finally, Miss Victoria Shaila, she has been working with the accounts department. And very proactive role in implementing the ERP relating to accounts. Yes. So once again, I congratulate all our staff members for their dedicated and committed service. Thank you.
Quickly, we will request all the award winners to just come out to the stage. We'll take a quick photo with the dignitaries. We'll request Komala to give the vote of thanks.
On behalf of the Institute, I express our deepest gratitude to our Chief Guest, Ambassador and former Foreign Secretary, Ms. Nirupama Rao, for delivering the inspiring Foundation Day address. Ma'am, your words have given us profound insights into the responsibilities and opportunities that lie ahead and leaders and institutions in a changing world. We are deeply grateful for your presence and for sharing your wisdom with us today. Our sincere thanks to Professor Dinesh Kumar, Director in charge, for his leadership, guidance, and for setting the tone for today's celebrations through his thoughtful address and introduction of our distinguished chief guest. We are also thankful to Professor Malavika Harita, Member Board of Governors, for her address and for graciously presenting the memento to our chief guest. I extend our heartfelt appreciation to the members of the Board of Governors, faculty, staff, students, alumni, and pensioners for joining us in celebrating this special day in the Institute's journey. A special word of thanks to the Alumni Relations Dean, led by Professor Saurav Mukherjee, organizing the Alumni Service Awards, and to the Dean Administration, Professor Jaydev, for recognizing and for our long-serving staff members whose dedication and service are integral part of the IIMB's growth and reputation. We are also grateful to all the administrative teams, including the CEO section, HR department, estate department, facilities management, security, IT, and hostel for the meticulous planning and smooth coordination of today's events for the Foundation Week activities. Let us conclude with gratitude and renewed commitment to uphold the values that make IIMB a truly world-class institution of excellence, integrity, and service. Once again, thank you all for your gracious presence and participation. Over to you, please.
We'll request everyone to rise for the national anthem. Request everyone to remain seated. Please, we'll request you to remain seated till the dignitaries leave the auditorium.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Father.